You will get a lot more out of life by being yourself. Hey y'all, so as you can see by the title, we get into different strategies of how to pivot or change course to do things that are more in alignment with who you are, what you want to do, and what you strive to be. So let's get into the video. It's okay to change your mind, you know, once you gain more knowledge about something, or change your opinion about something once you learn more information. It's okay. It's okay to follow your own wave. It's okay to do your own thing. It's okay to be authentic, to get to where you want to go. I'm just a firm believer of, like, why would I live in this person's shadow or live this person's life or dream if they're already doing it? You know, why not do my own thing? If everybody's going right, I'm gonna go left, maybe, you know? Maybe that's not every situation. Sometimes you should take heed, of course, but the whole point is to do what's best for you, to do what feels right. And a lot of times that isn't what everyone else is doing. So a key thing you want to think about before you decide to start over or to completely drop something is, what did I learn from this? Did I learn anything that I can take with me in the future, or that I can use now to change course? Me personally, I lack patience. So when something doesn't seem like it's working, I'm automatically just like, ooh, let me try something else. And that's good to a certain extent, because you do want to try different things. You do want to branch off, which brings me to my next point. You do want to figure out what you like and don't like. You need to be able to figure those things out, but how can you figure that out if you continue to do the same things? But on the flip side of that is, how do you know something isn't working? Just because you don't see results doesn't mean that it's not working, or doesn't mean that you're not gaining something from it that you might not know of in the moment, but you might learn later on down the line if you stick through it, you know? I hope this is making sense. So I have notes, y'all, because I really wanted to just touch on this and just shed a light on some of these topics. If you are going to change, or, you know, start over or do something different, how can you learn from what you're already doing to take that with you in the future, or whatever you decide to do next? Think about the lessons that you learned, the people that you meet, you know, the encounters that you had, anything that may have stuck out to you that you feel like resonated with you. How can you use that to move forward? How can you use that to change courses? And then when you figure out, you know, what lessons you can take or what things that you learned, you want to figure out what works and what doesn't. So for example, let's say if I want to be a creator, a content creator, let's use this for an example, and I realize that maybe doing hauls doesn't work for me, but doing advice videos does, or doing videos that show people how to do different things does work. You know, you want to kind of gravitate to the things that actually work for you. Maybe that wasn't a good example because everybody doesn't want to be a content creator, but let's just say, for example, you're an artist and you're trying to get prints done or something like that, and maybe that's not working out for you, or you want to get into EFTs, let's use that, and that's not necessarily working out for you. Maybe look into doing like a local pop-up shop, or selling your art to local people, or finding different local artists that, you know, they go to different events, and try to get into those spaces so that you're around more like-minded individuals and people who are doing the things that you want to do or you see being done. You also want to figure out like what's in your control and what's out of your control. Like, am I going to start getting paid by YouTube tomorrow? Is that in my control? No. But what's in my control is making sure that I continue to make the content that resonates with me, as well as the people I am reaching out to, or like my audience. But also making sure that I stay true to myself. That is something that I do have control over. I only have control over me. And if I continue to be authentic and be myself within all of this, it will pay off eventually. A lot of the times I've tried new things, and I've done things, and they actually turned out to be great. They actually turned out to be something that I was originally fearful of or afraid of, and I came out better for it on the other side because I decided to try. And I think that's the whole point about pivoting, is that you just have to try. A lot of things may not work, and that's okay. That brings me to my next strategy. You want to think about why you're doing what you're doing. So for example, why am I doing content creation? Because I find myself to be a creative spirit, somebody who enjoys creating things and doing things without like judging or critiquing myself. Like, yes, for YouTube I have to edit and things like that, but I've created so many different things outside of YouTube. I just did it for fun. I didn't think about it as, oh, I want to make money off of this, or I want to profit or monetize, or I want recognition for this thing that I'm creating. I just want to create because this is what God called me to do. So think about your why. Think about if it's really that important to you. And when you think about your why and you come up with what that means to you, you kind of pivot from there. You kind of shift your focus on the things that actually matter to you versus doing things to just make money or doing things because you want a certain stature in life. You do them because it helps you grow, it helps you evolve. And not only that, it helps you realize what you actually love and enjoy and what brings you hope and, you know, what your passions are. This actually brings me into my next strategy, or my next tactic, is think about what brings you peace. When you think of like an ideal peace of mind, what does that look like for you? What things are you doing? What are you eating? What are you experiencing? Who are the people what types of people are you meeting? What kind of things do you say? What kind of things do you wear? Like, really truly envision yourself in these different states. Really think about, okay, if I really decide to switch and do this thing and stop doing this, can I really see myself doing this? Can I really see myself being happy or at peace doing this thing? And also think about what could you potentially learn from that. You know, you won't know necessarily until you try, but just start thinking about those things, because you'll start to think about, okay, oh yeah, this is not gonna work. Okay, this might. You know, you'll start to decipher whether or not something is for you, and you'll become more in tune with your intuition, and you'll be able to just, oh, I know, like, this is for me, you know, versus second guessing yourself and being unsure or uncertain, because that's life. Like, we're never gonna know how something is gonna turn out. We can only hope for the best, expect the worst. But at the same time, if you live in that state of always expecting the worst, you can't be surprised if that's what you get. You have to, at some point, you have to think outside of that. Like, this could actually be the greatest thing I decided to do in my life. I could have learned so many things and met so many different people, experienced so many epic adventures just by this one decision I chose to make and change my life. Another thing, if you're deciding to do something different or change courses, talk to God. Talk to God, talk to God, talk to God, talk to God. I cannot stress this enough. It might seem crazy to you at first if you're not a person who talks to God or prays often, but I tell you it works. Because not only will God send you messages and people to validate the things that you're thinking already, you might be over here like, man, I just want to start a business doing freaking reselling, and somebody like, man, like, you so good at sales and marketing, you should get into that. And it's like, dang, I was literally just thinking of that. So like, God will really send confirmation through other people. And so it's important to build that relationship with God and get to know God and get to know yourself, because I feel like when you get to know God, you get to know so many more things about yourself that weren't apparent to you at first. So yes, talk to God. Ask God, you know, am I making the right decisions? Am I moving too hastily? Am I holding myself back? Am I the problem in this situation? What things do I need to change in order to get to where I'm trying to go? Yeah. I feel like I'm just rambling, but I really hope all of this is making sense, because this is, like I said, these are things that really truly work if you put in the active effort. I'll have another video on how to use active effort in your daily life soon, but it's really important to practice these things. And it might look different for you every day, but that's why it's important to incorporate these things into the daily, so that you figure out, okay, this is how it's gonna look tomorrow. It might not look like this Friday, but this is how we were about tomorrow. And you get through tomorrow, and then you get through the next day, and you keep going until you get to where you need to be, you know? Lastly, my last strategy. When you figure out your next steps, when you are sure or you have some sort of certainty, give yourself grace. I can't stress this one enough. This one, second to talking to God, this one I can't stress enough. You have to give yourself grace. And I struggled with this a lot myself, like in the beginning of everything I was trying to do, and even now, like, I still struggle with it. But you have to give yourself grace. You can't be so hard on yourself when something doesn't work out initially, or when something doesn't necessarily make sense to you, or you do something wrong, or you make a mistake. You're human. We make mistakes. we learn and we grow and we keep going and we keep going until the cycle ends or repeats itself. But that part is up to us, which is why you do need to learn better ways to communicate with yourself. If this is, you know, a problem for you in that area, learn better ways to communicate with yourself when you don't necessarily do something right, or when you mess up or make a mistake. Tell yourself, like, it's okay, like, I messed up on that, but that's okay. I can always try again. There's always next time. Have a forward thinking mindset, be optimistic, be open-minded, and continue to just think big. Like, don't make your thoughts seem so small to you, because then you'll start to doubt yourself. Then you'll start to backtrack and not feel certain in the things that you want to do, and then you're back to square one. So all of these things you want to implement in sequence, but also however it works for you. I'm not telling you that this is a cookie cutter way to do it. I'm just saying that these things worked for so many people, and if you want to be one of those people that learn how to pivot and do things gracefully that works for you, then hey, you practice these, you practice them. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at doing everything that I know how to do. I'm just saying that it comes more easier to me now because I've learned the things that I needed to learn about myself, about what I like, what I don't like. I've grown with God, I've grown within myself. I've been able to experience certain things that I would not have experienced had I not taken that extra step or that extra leap of faith within myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to talking to y'all again soon, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, babies.